I'm Layla, and I am 26 years old, and today you will be watching about what happened to me a year ago. A year ago, I was all set to start a wonderful life with my dear husband Daniel, who was the love of my life. Like many naive women, I thought that my relationship was perfect. Daniel wasn't a rich man and earned less than me, but it didn't matter to me since I was independent and happy with the love he gave me. Due to the difference in our incomes, I shouldered most of Daniel's expenses. Hell, even when we moved into a new house shortly before our wedding, I was set to pay 80% of the rent. I never had a problem with paying for Daniel, but I didn't realize that Daniel was taking advantage of me. I won't lie and say that there were 0 red flags. It's just that I had chosen to ignore those red flags because I was madly in love. One of the main problems that I faced in my relationship was the fact that Daniel expected me to spend my money on him. In the beginning, I didn't mind him asking me for money. I made more money than him anyway. However, when Daniel started to escalate with his requests, I began to say no. I could tell that my refusal to give him free access to my money was angering him, but I still refused to see it as a problem. That was until he came to me with a ridiculous request shortly before our wedding. He said, "Hey Layla, I need your credit card for something urgent. Can you give it to me now?" "Oh, you need my credit card? What is it for?" I asked. "Why are you asking me questions? Just give me the credit card. I need it for some wedding stuff," Daniel replied, his tone growing suspicious. I could tell that Daniel was starting to act very suspicious. He wouldn't tell me why he needed my credit card and snapped when I asked him. It made me seriously question what he was up to. Even though we were going to be married, I didn't want him to spend my money without giving me all the details. I decided to insist that he tell me the reason. "It must be something significant since you are in a hurry. I can't just give you my credit card like that. You need to tell me what's going on," I said firmly. "Oh God, you need to stop being so controlling. I can't believe I have to explain myself to you even when it's about the wedding. This wedding is for the 2 of us, Layla. I need to know what you're planning. I will give you the card after you tell me," Daniel retorted impatiently. "Fine, have it your way then. Well, I need a credit card to book my bachelor's trip to Bali. I need to book plane tickets and hotels for my groomsmen," Daniel finally revealed. It took me a solid minute to understand what Daniel was telling me. What he said was so bizarre that my mind refused to believe it. The look of shock and confusion on my face made Daniel more annoyed. "Stop looking at me like that and give me your card. I already explained why I need it, Daniel," he demanded. "You must be out of your mind. You expect me to fund your bachelor's trip to freaking Bali. Why would I even do that? It's your groomsmen who should be paying for a bachelor's trip. You can go somewhere else," I exclaimed in disbelief. "No, I want to go to Bali. I particularly insisted on that place since it's my dream destination. Since they didn't have the money, I offered to pay for the flights and hotels," Daniel argued. "I'm sorry, Daniel, that is not happening. You can use your money, but I can't offer you anything. I'm already paying for a lot of stuff. You can't expect me to pay for a trip that I won't even get to join," I insisted firmly. Daniel, of course, threw a fit, and we had a significant fight. He was adamant about going to Bali for the vacation. Things got so heated that he left to stay with his mom. However, his mom, Nikita, ended up siding with me and sending him back grumbling. Nikita is genuinely a fantastic lady. After days of silence, I finally cracked and asked to talk. Instead of the bachelor's party in Bali, I told Daniel that we could have our honeymoon there instead. Daniel made some noise about how he would lose face in front of his friends, but accepted the compromise. When I didn't back down, I thought about how my compromise had solved the problem. I still paid for the Bali trip, but now I get to enjoy it with my new husband. However, I didn't know that my husband would end up betraying me. Things were going well, and we got married in a lovely ceremony. We were all set to travel to Bali a week after the wedding. However, just a day before we left, I found Daniel standing near our home's fireplace with my passport in hand. I was confused and sad. "What are you doing with my passport, Daniel? I kept our passports together so that we don't forget to take them tomorrow." "Oh, I took your passport out of your bag, Layla. There's something I need to do before we leave tomorrow," Daniel replied ominously. What do you need to do, Daniel? I asked, feeling a sense of unease creeping over me. What happened next was straight out of a movie. With a flick of Daniel's hand, my passport was in the fireplace. I was in complete shock at what I had just witnessed. It took me a minute or two to comprehend the fact that my husband threw my passport in the freaking fireplace, and he did it right in front of me. When I looked up at his face in utter disbelief, I saw that he was smirking. Somehow, my stricken expression made him laugh out loud. He started to holler and only stopped when I said, Daniel, what the hell did you just do? Did you intentionally throw my passport in the fireplace? Are you blind, Layla? Didn't you see that is what I exactly did? But why? Why did you do that? I stammered, my mind reeling with disbelief. I was slowly starting to understand the gravity of the situation. It finally dawned on me that my husband had maliciously thrown an essential document of mine right into the fireplace. It was almost burnt to ashes. As the realization set in, there was nothing I could do other than to ask Daniel why he would do such a horrible thing. The words that came out of his mouth after my question were even more hurtful. What were you expecting, Layla? I had warned you that you shouldn't have vetoed my bachelor's party celebration. Did you think that I would let you get away with it? Daniel sneered. Wait, what? You can't be freaking severe right now. You destroyed my passport because I didn't allow you to spend my money to book your bachelor's trip? Stop freaking calling it your money, Layla. I told you that once we're engaged, your money is our money. Still, you had to go out of your way to humiliate me and make me cancel my plans with my friends. This is what you get for being such a witch. Daniel spat out venomously. It then struck me why Daniel had burnt my passport. He was taking revenge on me for not paying for his bachelor's trip. The moment he had made his reasoning clear, I felt like I was doused with a bucket of cold water. My mind was at a standstill while my heart refused to believe that my husband was such a vindictive piece of... Even then, I didn't even know what he was trying to accomplish. How does burning my passport help you, Daniel? What are you even trying to achieve? None of this makes sense. I have already let you book our honeymoon to Bali. How will we go there now? I demanded, my voice trembling with a mixture of anger and disbelief. Well, guess what, Layla? I will be going to Bali after all, and you won't be coming with me. Daniel laughed mockingly. Wait, what? This was supposed to be our honeymoon. You can't just go there by yourself. This trip was supposed to be for both of us, I protested, feeling a sense of betrayal creeping over me. Yes, Layla. Remember how you made me choose between the bachelor's party and the honeymoon? I chose a bachelor's party with a little lesson for you on the side. Maybe I will pick you up next time when you are acting less entitled. Now, I have an early flight to catch tomorrow, so I will be going to sleep. Good night, wife. Daniel chuckled as he retreated upstairs to take his beauty sleep. Hey, would you take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel? Thanks. Meanwhile, I was a complete mess. It took a few more minutes for the entire thing to sink in. When it finally did, I couldn't keep my tears at bay anymore. I felt betrayed and knew that it was those early signs of control and abuse. I had seen it happen to my mother, but I didn't know how I ended up with someone like my father. It was a complete disaster, and I didn't know what to do anymore. However, I was sure about one thing. I wasn't going to ignore what my husband had done to me, and I wasn't going to let go of it that easily. The hopeless romantic in me waited for Daniel to come down and apologize to me. I held on to the glimmer of hope that he would realize his mistake and ask for forgiveness. I would have forgiven him and suggested couples counseling. Yes, I loved him that much. But the moment he came downstairs with his packed bags, my hope was crushed. I sat on the couch, crying at the destruction of my marriage, while my new husband happily waved goodbye and took an Uber to the airport. I didn't sleep that night and cried throughout the day. I only snapped out of it when my mother-in-law called me. Hey, Layla, is everything okay there? Have you reached Singapore for your connecting flight? I've been trying to reach Daniel, but his phone still seems to be turned off, she said, concern evident in her voice. I didn't go on the trip, Nikita. What are you talking about? Has your honeymoon been canceled? I replied, confusion overwhelming me. I swear I got a text from Daniel saying that he got on the plane just fine, Nikita said, her confusion matching mine. Belfast confusion broke the dam again. I started to cry while trying to make up words to explain the situation to her. I was so overwhelmed that Nikita hung up on me and drove straight to the house. As soon as she walked in, she looked shocked at my state. She comforted me for some time before saying, "Layla, what's going on? Why didn't you go on your honeymoon? Where the hell is Daniel, and why is he playing me like that?" "Daniel wasn't lying, Nikita. He is on the trip, but he left without me," I explained through my tears. "What nonsense, Layla. This is supposed to be your honeymoon. You two should have left together. What the hell is going on?" Nikita demanded, her voice rising with anger. Through my tears, I explained everything to Nikita. To say that Nikita was horrified was an understatement. She was also highly furious and ready to wreak havoc on Daniel. She comforted me for a long time, and only spoke again when I was calmer. "Karma," she sighed and said, "please tell me you won't be letting him get away with this. You do realize that this is some messed up behavior, right?" "I know that, Nikita. I'm honestly contemplating my marriage right now. I don't think I want to stay with Daniel after this. I don't even recognize him anymore. I was hoping that he would change his ways now that he found an amazing woman like you. Looks like I failed to raise my son completely. He is beyond redemption now. Do what you should do to protect yourself, Layla. I'm on your side," Nikita assured me. Having Nikita's support meant the world to me. It did help to know that even Daniel's mother was against his antics. I wasn't crazy in thinking that he had taken things too far. Nikita and I discussed Daniel's past behavior to a great extent, and what we uncovered was shocking. We both realized that Daniel was a moocher and had been leeching off people for years. As the years passed, his entitlement only got worse and turned him into a horrible man. All he knew was to take advantage of people and use their money to have a good life. The realization made both Nikita and me furious. It was then that we both came up with a plan to show Daniel his place in this world and teach him a lesson for life. It took me 4 days to see the plan in motion. Nikita helped out a lot, and honestly, it wouldn't have worked without her support. We accomplished a lot within those 4 days to make sure Daniel got the biggest lesson of his life. When everything was done, it was time to call Daniel. He picked up the phone, looking cheerful as hell, and all I wanted to do was knock off that smirk that I could see on the video call. Keeping a straight voice, I said, "Hey Daniel, how's it going? Enjoying your solo honeymoon so far?" "I'm so glad you asked, Layla. This trip is the best trip of my life. It is exactly how I had imagined, and I'm having the best time ever. It truly is the bachelor's trip that I deserved. It's only a shame that my friends couldn't come," Daniel replied, his voice brimming with excitement. "Oh, you poor thing, Daniel. You must be missing your friends a lot on this bachelor's trip. Well, don't worry. Soon you will only be going on bachelor's trips because guess what? You won't be married anymore," I said calmly. That got Daniel's attention in an instant. The fear of losing his cash cow was getting to him, and his cheerful face had a bit of panic to it. He immediately tried to brush off the topic and said, "You can't be serious, Layla. We just got married and you want to leave me on a trip? That is ridiculous. You didn't think it would be ridiculous to leave your wife behind and go on your honeymoon all by yourself? Guess this trip was more important to you than staying married. Well, knowing that now, I've decided to do you a favor and give you a chance to stay in Bali as long as you want," I said calmly. "What the hell do you mean, Layla? You're not making any sense," Daniel stammered, his panic evident in his voice. "Well, you did fly over there with my money and are staying at a hotel again with my money, but have you thought about how you will be coming back?" I asked, a hint of satisfaction creeping into my voice. This was something that my dear husband had never thought about. From the way his face fell and he turned as pale as a ghost, it was not difficult to come to this conclusion. This self-centered idiot thought that I would allow him to spend my goddamn money on a luxurious trip for himself. The absolute audacity just blew my mind. I already have the flights booked. Why would I have trouble coming back? Daniel tried to regain his composure. but his trembling voice betrayed his fear. Well, those flights are being booked on my credit card, Daniel. And since I have decided not to continue our marriage anyway, there's no reason I would allow you to use my money. This is your solo honeymoon anyway, so today, right after this phone call, I will be canceling all those charges. Yes, all of them, including the flights and hotels, I said firmly. No, you're bluffing. You won't do that. There's no way you're doing that, Layla, Daniel pleaded, desperation creeping into his voice. Now he looked panicked as hell, and his eyes turned into saucers. He did expect me to lie down and take the consequences of my actions as he had seen fit. He hadn't expected me to turn around and make him face some consequences of his own. The thought of me canceling everything and leaving him stranded on an island far from home spiked his fear. He was hysterical, saying that I could not do this to him. I laughed and said, "Oh, Daniel, I'm going to do everything I just said. I've already moved out of our rented apartment and requested an annulment of our marriage. Everything has already been set into motion." Layla, listen to me. You're not thinking straight. Let me just come back and we can talk this through. Hell, I'll even cut my vacation short if you need me. Just let me come back and talk to you. I will make this right, I promise. Daniel pleaded desperately. Hey, would you take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel? Thanks. You threw away every chance to make this right when you left for this damn vacation. You destroyed this marriage when you maliciously burnt my passport so that I couldn't come on the honeymoon that I was freaking paying for. This is over, Daniel. You are lucky I'm not suing you for destroying important documents, but I won't let the other things go. We are done, I declared, my voice steady with resolve. I hung up on Daniel and immediately canceled all the bookings that were made using my credit card. Then, I screenshotted the cancellation receipts and sent them to my soon-to-be ex-husband. He freaked out, alternating between calling me names and begging me not to do this to him. I blocked his number and waited to see what he would do. It took him one whole day to return to our city. He had no other option. I had already canceled the hotels, and he didn't have money to book them himself. What little money he had was already spent on food and drinks there, so he was forced to beg a friend to give him money to come back. It wasn't a handout, but a loan. He did try to call Nikita, but she didn't take his calls like me. We knew that sooner or later Daniel would come begging at her door, and that's when he would get another big surprise. You can imagine his face when he showed up at his mother's house to find me living with her. Mom, what is Layla doing here? Why were you not taking my calls? Daniel immediately asked Nikita. Well, Layla is living with me now. I offered her my place to stay and gave her the sage advice to move out of your place. Nikita replied calmly. Mom, why would you do that? Layla's trying to leave me. You should be on my side and not help her make this ridiculous decision. Daniel protested. What part of her decision is ridiculous to you, Daniel? The part where her husband burnt her passport and left for their honeymoon without her? Or the part where he used her money to book everything? Nikita's tone was firm, leaving no room for argument. Daniel turned even paler when Nikita said that. He again hadn't thought that I would spill all the beans to his mother, and instead of taking his side, his mom would take mine. I was having a good time sitting on the couch and watching my dear mother-in-law destroy my husband. Daniel tried his best to make himself the victim. Mom, you don't even understand what's going on. Layla betrayed me by canceling everything there. I had to take a loan from a friend to come back to her. She left me stranded there on purpose. I have no money to pay back my friend now. Do you think your wife is a piggy bank, Daniel? What kind of an entitled idiot have you grown up to be? Layla owes you nothing, especially when you betrayed her so horribly. Of course, I will take her side. I'm ashamed of having a son like you. Mom, this is so unfair. I need you and you're turning against me. Layla landed me in trouble, and I have nowhere to go. You are the only one I can turn to. It would help if you were on my side. Daniel pleaded desperately. Did you think that you could come here and ask me for help? I would happily oblige. That is never happening again, Daniel. I will get my point across loud and clear. Daniel, you will never get a penny out of me, and you are not welcome in my house again. I don't want anything to do with an entitled and selfish son like you. Nikita declared, her voice filled with finality. Daniel was in shock hearing what his mother had to say about his antics. The look on his face was pure bliss for me. I was thoroughly enjoying the scene unfolding in front of me. Things got exceptionally satisfying when Daniel realized that he had indeed messed up a lot. Now he had a freaking loan looming over his head, and was actually at risk of being homeless since he couldn't afford rent on his own. His credit card debts also were going to be of little help at the moment. When he realized the gravity of the situation, he started to beg and plead with Nikita to help him out. Our plan of seeking revenge brought him back to earth and showed him how badly he had messed up. He wanted to prove a point and keep me under control, but the plan backfired on him and destroyed his life, as anyone would expect. Daniel begged me and Nikita to forgive him, but at that point we both realized how much he was taking advantage of us. It was time to make him face the music. Nikita promptly kicked him out of her house while telling him not to bother coming back. The following chain of events was somewhat predictable for me. Still, I'm going to tell you what happened. We ended up getting an annulment since we didn't even stay together for more than a week. And I ended up telling my lawyer what Daniel had done to my passport. My lawyer was able to convince Daniel to agree to the annulment by promising to dissolve the matter of my passport with no money left for a good lawyer. Daniel saw it best just to do what I wanted. I had better chances of winning the annulment anyway. But even with the annulment, he didn't stop trying to get back with me. Remember the bachelor's trip with friends that Daniel was dying to go to? Well, that little trip ended up nuking his life. Now he no longer has friends anymore after he was unable to pay a friend back the loan he took to return from Bali. Daniel was cut off from his friends. They didn't want to associate with the leech anymore now that they knew that I wasn't sponsoring their expenses anymore. So ended up cutting Daniel off to avoid becoming his cash cow. Daniel is now completely alone, without any friends or family members. Nikita still refused to talk to him, even though the whole incident happened a year ago. She is upset at him, and adamant that Daniel needs to be on his own to lose his gross entitlement. So far, it has been working just fine. He has severely downgraded his life and is begging Nikita and me for another chance. I don't know about Nikita, but I will never fall into that trap again. I'm happy being on my own now, and plan to remain that way until I find someone worthy of me. Let's conclude the story. After the tumultuous events that unfolded, I found myself in a place of newfound independence and strength. It wasn't easy to untangle myself from the web of deceit and manipulation that Daniel had spun. Still, with the support of Nikita and my determination, I emerged from the chaos stronger than ever. The annulment was finalized, severing any remaining ties between Daniel and me. Though he continued to plead for forgiveness and reconciliation, I stood firm in my decision to move forward without him. I refused to be drawn back into a cycle of abuse and control. Daniel's life took a stark turn. Cut off from his former friends and alienated from his family, he faced the consequences of his actions alone. The repercussions of his entitlement and selfishness left him adrift, struggling to navigate a world where his manipulative tactics no longer held sway. Meanwhile, I embraced my newfound freedom with open arms. I focused on rebuilding my life, channeling my energy into pursuits that brought me joy and fulfillment. With Nikita's unwavering support by my side, I charted a course toward a brighter future, unencumbered by the weight of past betrayals. In the end, the story serves as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the power of self-discovery. Through adversity, we find strength. And through courage, we find our way to a life filled with love, respect, and genuine happiness. Thanks for watching. How did you find the story? Let me know in the comments below. Remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more awesome stories like this. Your feedback and support mean a lot.